As the Custodians won a major victory over the Necrons in the field, our attention turns back to Outpost 266 and the Guardsman station there. All has been quiet. The Orcs of the Sand Sea have made no major attempts to raid nearby settlements. In that quietness comes an overall sense of foreboding. A crack team of Orc Kommandos are now set on the outskirts of Outpost 266 looking for information. Welcome back to Miniature Game Montage and the Osiris conflict. Today we have the Orc Kommandos facing off against the veteran Guardsmen of Outpost 266. Thank you so much for helping out with the errors in the first few games. I hope you continue to follow our story and continue to do that. I read all the comments and will use your feedback to improve. Without further ado, let's take a look at the campaign table. The Necrons took their first loss of the season to the Custodians in our last matchup. The veteran Guardsmen will have their second outing today against the new Orc Kommandos, the Black Teeth. In order to help us focus more on the core rules, we're bringing only a handful of specialists, 5 from each side to be precise. The Black Teeth will be led by Moloch, a Nob with Power Claw. Operatives include a Comms Boy with Choppa, Daka Boy with Choppa, Rocket Boy with Climbing Rope, and a Slasher Boy. The rest will be boys, with one carrying a stick bomb and the other a smoke grenade. The veteran Guardsmen assemble Officer Gray with his plasma gun and power sword. The Bruiser, Erlin, Melt-A-Gunner, Griff, and the Sniper Spotter team of Bask and Pask join him. They are backed by 5 Trooper veterans with hotshot capacitor packs. Today's mission is Secure Archeotech, and we've played this one before. Operatives can disengage tech for 1 AP if that operative is within 1 inch of an objective it controls. The operative can pick up the marker while it is disengaged. Each time a tech is disengaged, the faction will score 1 VP, and at the end of battle, each disengaged marker they control scores 2 VP. For secondaries, the Kommandos are playing in the Seek and Destroy archetype. They get Headhunter, Rob and Ransack, and Rout. The Guardsmen are in the Security archetype. They get Damage Limitation, Hold the Line, and Protect Assets. Thank you so much for watching, and with kill teams ready, turn 1 is coming up next. And just prior to that first turning point, we will see the recon maneuver from the Kommandos as S1E5 moves forward. Over for the Guardsmen, we will see a Guardsman order being played by Officer Gray, and it will be to take aim. The Guardsmen will take priority in the first turn, Rout and Protect Assets being revealed. And with the first activation, Pask is going to spot the Comms Boy for his brother Bask. This allows him to treat that Comms Boy as if he has an engage order. Bask is then going to take a shot with his long lass, and he hits on at 2. So this is going to be 4 shots. We will get to reroll 1 due to the Guardsman order of take aim. A crit will be retained, which will inflict 3 mortal wounds. We will save 1 for cover, so 2 defense coming out needing 5s, and that will block one of those shots. With 3 mortal wounds and 2 normal, it's 9 total damage. He has 1 wound remaining. Gasgar, the Comms Boy, he becomes injured, and he will then activate, and he is going to give +1 APL to the leader Moloch. Using that conceal order, he is then going to move forward. Back to the Guardsmen, we have Creed, who is going to use his action to move. He's going to hop over the barricade here, and he is going to catch Gasgar out in the open, and he's going to target him with his last gun. And this is going to be 4 shots hitting on 4s, no cover lines crossing terrain, so he is an eligible target. And those 4 dice come ripping across, and that results in 3 hits. Gasgar does have a defense of 3, and he needs 5s in order to block these out. And rolling those dice up, he is going to get 2 critical saves. 1 is going to fail, but he will use a CP to play just a scratch, and that will allow him to get another save out of this, so there will be no damage on this shot. Flipping back to the Kommandos, S1E5 is going to skulk forward with that conceal order, and he is going to use his second action to disengage tech, and this will give the Orcs their first victory point of the match. Seeing this maneuver provokes Officer Gray to move forward as well, and he is going to use his second action to disengage tech, and this is going to give the Guardsmen their first VP of the match as well. The boy Ragnog is going to use a move and dash with his conceal order. And this will get a reaction from Lasco as he moves forward with an engage order, and he is going to target the boy with his last gun. And he'll get 4 shots, and this is going to hit on 4s. He does have him in the open. No cover lines are crossing terrain. And the shots from the last gun coming out, again, needing 4s, and that is going to result in 2 criticals and 2 normal hits. The boy has a defense of 3, and he needs 5s. There will be a critical save and 1 normal. With 5 damage on Golbog, we've then got Grugga, who is going to move forward, and Dash to stay concealed. This is again going to get a reaction from Erlen, who is going to move forward with his engage order, and he is once again going to target Ragnog with that last gun. And he is going to get 4 attacks, and he will be hitting on 4s. And those shots hit the deck. There's going to be a total of 2 hits, and combined arms will be played here by the Guardsman. This will allow him to re-roll some of these dice, and he's going fishing for 4s again, and he will land 1. So Golbog will get a defense of 3, and he will be looking for 5s. And with 1 critical save, 2 wounds go through for a total of 4 damage. He's got 1 wound remaining. Now, as Shankskull makes his move and dash with a conceal order, we did forget hot shot capacitor packs, so that boy should actually be dead. We will remember that later in the game. Back to the Guardsman, Otto is going to move forward, and he is going to target Golbog as well. He's got a last gun, so 4 shots will come out, needing 4s. No cover lines crossing terrain, and those shots come out. That's going to be 1 critical. Ragnog has a defense of 3, and he needs a 6 in order to block this shot, and he will get it. Back to the Orc Commandos, we have Grut, who is going to move down the left flank and dash with his conceal order. And then back to the Guardsman, we've got Griff with that Meltagun, and he is going to make his way down the trench line using a move and dash. Up next, we have Golbog, who is going to use a move and dash with his conceal order. And then back to the Guardsman. Kishner elects to stay concealed, and he is going to move up behind Officer Gray. And then flipping back to the Commandos, we've got Moloch, the Knob. He is going to use Get It Done to assign an APL over to the Rocket Boy, Ruck. And then he is going to move up. He is going to disengage tech with his second action. And then he is going to pick that tech up, and that will score the Commandos a VP. Karsk then activates for the Guardsman, and he is going to finally use that infiltrate ability. He's going to flip up to a conceal, and after some thinking, he is just going to move up behind Griff. The Rocket Boy, Ruck, is then going to activate. He now has an APL of 3. He's going to use that climbing rope to get to the top and move forward. He is then going to launch that rocket down at Officer Gray, and he is on a vantage point, even though he's got a conceal order, treating that as an engage order. And that rocket is going to fire down, and it will be 5 shots hitting on 4s. That results in 2 hits. Due to AP-1, Officer Gray will go from 3 defense to 2, and he will be looking for 5s, and he's not going to get it. With a total of 8 damage, this would kill him, so they are going to use a CP to reroll one of these saves, trying to keep him alive, needing a 5, and he is going to get it. Officer Gray will still take 4 damage, and now we're going to see some Overwatch from Otto as he targets Ragnog with that last gun. His ballistic skill will be worsened by 1, so he will be hitting on 5s with 4 dice. And those come out. We do have 1 that is cocked, so we're going to re-roll that back out. We do see 1 damage on the table. That will be a total of 2. Ragnog has a defense of 3, and he needs 5s in order to save these. All of these are going to fail, and Ragnog will be eliminated. And with the last activation of the turn, the Daka Boy is going to move up the terrain and move to the window, preparing for the next turn. And that brings us to the end of the first turning point. The Orc Commandos will take a 2-1 lead as they did disengage 2 of the techs on the board. No secondaries achieved that turn. We did forget the hot shot capacitor packs in that first turn, but we will remember that moving forward. Turn 2 coming up next. And rolling up for priority, it looks like the Kommandos are going to take it. Skulkabout being played for 1 CP, and the order issued to the Guardsman will be to once again take aim. We also have damage limitation and hold the line being revealed, and we immediately move over to Ruck, the Rocket Boy. He is firing down at Officer Gray again, treating him as if he has an engage order due to being on the vantage point, and 5 dice coming out, needing 4s. And he does get 1 crit, and because he didn't move, he gets Boom Boy, which can allow him to re-roll any misses, and he is going to get 2 crits and a hit. AP-1 takes the defense down to 2, and he doesn't really have a way to save all of this damage, so In-Death Atonement being played for 1 CP. This is going to allow him to activate before he exhausts. And with that activation, Officer Gray is going to move forward. He is injured, but he is just going to get in range of that objective, and he will disengage tech with his second action to score the Guardsman 1 VP, tying this game up. As Officer Gray falls to the ground, Headhunter is revealed, scoring the Kommandos 1 secondary victory point. And then we move over to Snagpit. He is going to use Dash to fire his weapon, targeting Bask, the sniper, treating him as if he has an engage order due to being on the vantage point. And there will be 5 dice coming out here, hitting on 4s, and he's going to sink 3 shots with 2 crits into Bask. Bask is in cover, so we will retain one of these saves, and 2 defense coming out looking for 5s. He will block one of the crits, but 1 critical will go through. With 4 damage on Bask, he becomes injured, and then that Dash ability allowing Snagpit to back off the vantage point. Over for the Guardsman, auto activates, gonna shoot his last gun at Grugga, and no cover lines crossing terrain here, so just 4 shots and it will hit on 4s. 1 rolled off the camera here, but there will be 1 critical and 2 normal hits. He does have a defense of 3, but Skulkabout allowing him to retain a save due to him having a conceal order. So 2 dice coming out, looking for 5s, and he will block the other regular hit. 1 critical goes through, that will cause 4 damage with that hot shot pack. Otto is then going to move, getting behind some cover. Grugga then activates, and he announces a charge into Erlin, and he is a throat slitter, so he can charge while he does have a conceal order. And Erlin braces for impact. Grugga comes in wielding a Choppa, which is 4 dice on 3s. Meanwhile, the Bruiser has the Trench Club, and that is 3 dice on 4s. Grugga decides to strike, but the Bruiser ability allows him to ignore that damage, and Erlin is going to hit him with the Trench Club, causing 3 damage. Grugga then swipes the Choppa for 4 damage onto Erlin. Erlin then hits him back for 3, which would incapacitate him. However, just a scratch being played for 1 CP is going to allow Grugga to once again hit him for 4 more damage, and this is going to take Erlin out of action. So just a scratch, allowing him to ignore damage and take Erlin out of action. Lasco is going to see that, and he's going to shoot point blank right here at Grugga with his last gun. It's going to be 4 dice on 3s. The last gun cracks, and there will be 1 critical. So 1 die will be retained due to Skulkabout, as he does have a conceal order. So 2 dice will be rolled out, and he's looking for a 5 or better to block, or a 6, and he does get a 6. That shot will be blocked. Lasco is then going to pull back. Over for the Kommandos, Shank Skull is going to activate. He is going to move forward, and he is going to use an AP to disengage tech here, giving the Kommandos a VP. Griff is going to flip up to an engage order, and he is going to move around the corner between the containers and get a wide open shot at Grugga. And he's got that melt-a-gun. He is within range. No cover lines crossing terrain. We have a wide open shot. And we've got 4 attacks needing force from the melt-a-gun. Only 1 goes through. That could easily be blocked for Skulkabout, as he does have a conceal order. So 1 CP being played for a reroll here, looking for a 4. and he is going to get it. That will be 2 hits that go through. 1 can be retained for Skulk About, and it is AP -2. Now, since this weapon is AP -2, it gives him only 1 defense die, but because he retained that to block for Skulk About, he is going to go out of action as he cannot block both of these shots. Up next, we have Sneef, who changes up to an engage order, and he is going to move forward, and he is going to target the guardsman in front of him with his slugga. He is close enough to not give any type of cover, so this is going to be 4 shots on 4s. And he is targeting Creed. Those shots come out, and that is going to be 3 hits. With a defense of 3, he's going to be looking for 5s. And that is going to be 1 save, so 2 normal damage going through. That will be 6 damage in total, injuring Creed. And Creed is going to activate next. He does have an engage order, and he is going to move forward, hopping over the barrier. He is injured, so moving a little slower than normal. And he is going to point his last gun back at Sneef and take shots. And he has 4 dice, and he is going to hit on 5s now due to that injury. And none of these shots are going to hit. And we're going to move back over to the Kommandos. Golbog moves up to the objective, uses his second action to pick it up. And then we have across the board, Kishner is going to fire at Sneef. And he's got a last gun. He does have take aim, so he gets to re-roll 1s. This is going to be 4 shots needing 4s. And he is going to get a crit and a normal. There is no cover lines crossing terrain on this shot. And that is going to be 1 block. That will result in 4 damage on Sneef due to the hotshot back. Kishner then uses that last action point to move into some cover. Gruth then activates for the Kommandos. He moves forward, and he is going to target Creed with his slugga. And this is going to be 4 shots coming out, hitting on 4s. There's no cover here as well. And this is going to result in a critical and a normal hit. So 3 saves coming from Creed, and he needs 5s, and he is going to block all of these. We then move over to Bask, who takes aim at Ruck, the Rocket Boy, up in the window, and he is going to fire that sniper rifle. He can do that with a conceal order due to the sniper ability. It's going to be 4 shots, and he's going to be hitting on 3s due to an injury. He's going to get 3 that go through still, and 1 will be retained for cover as Ruck is in that window. He is going to save 1 more, so only 1 going through. That's 3 damage on Ruck. The comms boy, Gaskar, then activates, gives an action point to Moloch with Listen In, and then makes a move. A tactical asset is being played, a guided missile being called down on Ruck. 4 dice needing 3s, and it's AP -1. He does get to retain 1 of these for cover. At AP -1, he's rolling out just 1 die, and he is going to block it, getting a critical save. We've then got the Knob, who is going to activate. He moves forward to that center objective. He has 3 action points, and he is going to line up that slugga, and he is going to fire at Creed. 4 dice, and it looks like 3 of these are going to hit, needing 4s. And Creed needs a big roll here on 3 dice, and he is not going to get it. He is going out of action. And now Moloch will use his last action to disengage Tech, scoring them 1 VP. Back to the Guardsman at the bottom. Karsk is going to flip up to an engage order, and he is going to fire up at Ruck. And he's got the last gun lined up. 4 shots hitting on 4s. And the last gun rings out. That is going to be 1 critical and 1 normal hit. Ruck will retain 1 of these for cover, and he will get 2 defense, and these are going to fail, so a critical goes through. That is going to be 4 damage onto him with that hotshot pack. He will then use his second action to move up, getting behind some cover. Ruck then lines up an Overwatch shot, and he is going to fire that rocket down again. He does need 6s, however, as the recent damage did put an injury on him, and Overwatch is a -1 as well, so none of these are going to hit. Pask then activates for the Guardsman, and he points the last gun up at Ruck again. 4 shots, and it will be hitting on 4s. The dice come out. That is going to be 1 critical and 1 normal, and still no rerolls coming into effect. He will retain 1 for cover. 2 dice come out. Both of these are going to fail. That critical is going to eliminate Ruck, and the Rocket Boy has been taken out of the game. And with that comes the conclusion of the second turning point, as the Kommandos are going to score 2 on the primary for disengaging 2 techs. The Guardsmen are going to score 1 on the primary for disengaging 1. Headhunter also being scored by the Kommandos, and Hold the Line being scored by the Guardsmen on secondaries. We've got Turning Point 3 coming up next. With Turn 3 priority rolls coming up next, we do see Daka 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 being played for 1 CP and Overcharged Last Guns being played for 1 CP. And on the roll for priority, the Kommandos are going to take it. The Knob Moloch is going to activate. He is going to assign an AP with Get It Done, and he announces a charge into Bask. He wields a massive Thunderclaw, and as it comes crashing down, he is going to get 4 dice needing 3s. Bask is going to retaliate with 3 attacks needing 4s, but it is not going to be enough, as these criticals are immediately going to take the injured Bask out of action. That is going to score a secondary point for Rout. We've then got Kishner. He is going to use his actions to move forward, and he is then going to pull that last gun up and take aim. He's targeting the Comms Boy Gascar and just firing this in normal mode. This is going to be 4 dice hitting on 4s. There's no cover here, and if those shots ring out, there's going to be 1 hit that goes through. So not very good on the shooting side for the Guardsman, and he's going to have a defense of 3. He'll be needing 5s in order to block this shot, and he is good. Shank Skull is going to pick up the objective, and he is going to use his second action to move. And back to the Guardsman, Karsk is going to move up with his engage order. He is going to target the Knob Moloch, and he is going to fire with his last gun. And he is going to overcharge this shot. It will be 4 dice needing 4s, but it does get hot on 1, and he is going to suffer 3 mortal wounds as a result. There will be a crit and 2 normal hits out there. He retains 1 for cover. The weapon is AP -1, so 1 die comes out, and that will get it done. He needed a 4 up, so 1 critical will go through that causes 4 damage due to the hotshot pack. Action continues with the boy Golbog, who picks up the objective, and he is going to move back into cover. We've then got the Guardsman with the Melt-A-Gun sticking with his engage order. This is Griff, who uses his moves and then a dash, getting behind cover, hopefully trying to line up a next shot with that Melt-A-Gun on the 4th turning point. Snag Pit then plays the Daka Dash ability, allowing him to dash back to the window, and he is going to unload shots at Griff, who is down in the trench with an engage order. And this is going to be 5 dice needing 4s. And there will be 2 criticals and 2 regulars, and Daka 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 allowing them to retain 1 of those misses as a normal hit, so all of these are going to connect. Griff is going to retain 1 of these for cover, but he is in big trouble here. Only 2 defense left needing 5s. While he will block 1 of those regular shots, he is going to be incapacitated. And with 1 APL remaining, Snag Pit is just going to move back off the window. A tactical asset is then being called in. It is an artillery barrage coming down on Grut. That is going to be 6 dice hitting on 5s. And he gets 2 crits and 2 regular hits. We will resolve against Grut. He gets 3 dice needing 5s, and he is going to make 1 critical save. That is going to be a total of 7 damage that goes through on him, however. The barrage does cause an injury, and then we will also have to roll for nearby Sneef, who is also hit by the barrage as well. So once again, 6 dice coming out and hitting on 5s. There's going to be 2 critical hits that go through, and he also has a defense of 3, so he will be taking those saves and looking for 6s in order to block out these critical hits, or just 2 regular saves. He does get 1 critical, but 1 is still going to go through. With 3 damage on Sneef, he also becomes injured. Grutt activates next. He does have an additional action point. He is going to move up to the objective. He is going to pick it up with his second, and with his third, he is going to fire that slugger. He will be targeting Karsk with that engage order just on the other side of the trench. And this will be 4 dice hitting on 5s because he is injured. That'll result in 2 regular hits. We will retain 1 of these for cover. Karsk will get to roll a defense of 2, and he is looking for 5s in order to block this shot, and he is going to miss, and he is going to become injured as a result. He will have 1 wound remaining. The spotter, Pask, is then going to react to this move. With his engage order, he is going to move to where he controls the objective, and he's going to bring his last gun up to fire at Grutt. And overcharging this last gun could cause mortal wounds on a 1. He's going to take 4 shots, needing 4s, and he will take 3 mortal wounds, but there will be a critical and a normal hit that go through. There is no cover here. AP-1 reduces it down to 2 defense. He does save 1 of these, but a critical still goes through, 3 damage. And that will be enough to remove the injured Grutt from the board. The objective falls back to the ground, and then back to the Kommandos. Gaskar, the comms boy, he is going to move forward, and he is going to fire. He does have a Shaka pistol, which is 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, and these can cause mortal wounds if any crits are retained. So 6 dice coming out, needing 4s. There's 2 crits out there, and a ton of hits. And Daka allowing him to retain 1 of those misses as a normal hit. You're looking at 2 crits and 4 hits. There isn't anything that can be done against these attacks, and Kishner is going to be incapacitated. And back to the Guardsman, we've got Lasko, who is going to use his moves to wrap back around the backfield, and he is going to target Gaskar, the comms boy, with his last gun, going to try to overcharge it again, risking 3 mortal wounds on a 1. This will be 4 shots coming across, hitting on 4s, and he will take 3 mortal wounds and only sink 1 hit into Gaskar, and that will be retained for cover. The injured Sneef is going to activate next. He will change up to a conceal order, and he is just going to tuck into cover. In a final activation for the Guardsman, Otto is going to move and use his second action point to overcharge that last gun again and fire it down at the comms boy, Gaskar, trying to eliminate 1 more boy so they can potentially go for those 2 objectives. And this will be 4 shots on 4s, and he is going to take 3 mortal wounds as well, but he will sink 3 hits into Gaskar. We retain 1 of these for cover, so a defense of 2 is going to be, a defense of 1 will be rolled out as the weapon is now AP-1. It's not going to be enough to block all of the hits, and the hotshot capacitor puts 4 damage on him and will eliminate Gaskar. And that brings us to the end of the 3rd turning point. Gaskar not close enough to give the veteran Guardsman protect assets, but 1 point will be scored for the Kommandos for rout. Still some moves to be made as we look to the 4th turning point. And getting ready for turning point 4, priority rolls coming out, the Orc Kommandos will be up again. Skulkabout being played for 1 CP on the strategic ploys, and Take Cover being played by the Guardsman. And with that win in priority, the Orc Kommandos will activate the knob, and he is going to launch across the trench into Pask, and he wields that big Power Claw, which will be 4 attacks on 3s. Pask just equipped with a bayonet, which will be 3 attacks on 4s. So the bayonet thrusts, and it is going to hit twice. The Power Claw hits back, and that critical is going to be 5 damage. And Pask is going to be taken out. Otto is going to activate next. He only has 1 wound remaining. He is going to flip up to a conceal order, and he is going to move into cover. I think the Guardsmen are going to try to overpower or get more APL on that objective than the boss Knob. But Snag Pit will activate next, and he uses Dash. So he gets that dash forward, and he is going to unload that weapon, and he is going to fire. Down at Karsk, this is going to be 5 dice hitting on 4s. And it looks like we will get a crit and 2 normal hits that go through. We will retain 1 of these for cover. And due to the take cover being played as the strategic ploy, it will increase his defense by, or his save by 1. So 2 dice will come out needing 4s. And he will get a criticals that will block out the critical hit and 1 normal. But still 1 regular damage going through that will be enough to take him out of the game and free up that objective. In retaliation, Lasgo is going to move forward. They will now have a greater APL than Moloch on this objective and therefore control it. We've then got Sneef, who moves forward to an objective to control it, and that is going to bring the end of this game. The Orc Kommandos are going to take a win today. So we've got the results calculated in this one as a 14-5 victory for the Kommandos. They did control 3 objectives at the end of the game, worth 2 victory points each, giving them 6 more victory points, total of 14. The Guardsmen controlled 1, worth 2 victory points, giving them a total of 5. It seems the Kommandos have gotten away with some necessary information here at Outpost 266, and we'll see how that affects our narrative moving forward. Hope you've enjoyed watching this battle report. Big thank you to my 2022 Coffee Supporters Club. Your names are on the screen now. If you'd like any information about that, a link will be down in the description. It is by no means necessary. We provide our content just for fun. Really hope that you've enjoyed watching this one. We look forward to continuing this narrative in the future. There's more Kill Team to come from the Osiris conflict. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.